Joining me today, we've got John Mark Staude, who has been no stranger to the Deep Dives YouTube channel. I've interviewed John Mark for, I think, probably 3 or 4 years now. Probably one of the first video interviews when we just got into video. I remember we were looking to hire editing staff and chatting with you about it because early on it was a really slow process, and that's ultimately how we found our crew. And John Mark, it's really great to be here doing a live interview. It's the Deep Dive's first conference. We've ever actually set up a whole set here, and I'm really happy to be sitting down with you and doing this.
It's great to be here, and I love that you can actually pronounce my name correctly, you know? It's like serious, like people scramble it or whatever, and you guys have done so many good videos with Riverside Deep Dive. It's great, we really appreciate it, and it's great to have you guys here at the conference.
So lots to talk about, lots happening in Mexico. One of the reasons that I love chatting with you is that you're a guy who knows what's happening in the industry beyond just junior mining. You're connected with a lot of the big companies. And I want to ask you this just because internally we were having a conversation with our writers at the Deep Dive about an editorial that came out of the Globe and Mail by a man named Andrew McLaughlin, who's Vice President of Legal Affairs and General Counsel for a group called Major Drilling Group International. And basically, he wrote a piece saying that ESG reporting has become too burdensome for mining companies. And I don't really want to mischaracterize what he said, but he made it sound like there was no specific said in there, but I have to imagine that if you are an exploration company, ESG reporting is not necessarily that big of a problem right now.
So one thing is about scale, and whenever you take anything, so if you're a big company that's gonna then mandate certain aspects, it can be difficult as you go into an exploration. So exploration division inside a giant company that wants to have all these things. And I can understand where he's coming from, that ESG reporting, any type of reporting, if you get it the wrong scale for the project. Exploration doesn't have such a large environmental impact. So in concept, exploration should not need that much. However, you have to be careful if you got a huge checklist. It's like going to the doctor and you're only going for a Band-Aid. But the guy comes with this whole surgical list of all these things. Look, all I need is a Band-Aid. But if it's like, no, every patient needs to fill out these 9 pages of login because that's what we're doing, it would be overkill. And I think, so you have to be careful, you know, how much fuel are you using, how much this, how much you're doing that, and all these different things. And you're like, look, we're just drilling a hole, or we're just doing some drilling and things like that. So I can understand. I didn't read the article.
But for you, and this is kind of just reading it, I felt like it was sort of a crybaby article, and that's kind of why I wanted to ask you about it. Because, like, for you as an exploration company, how much time do you spend when you're doing your audited financial statements and your MD&A? Do you spend on ESG?
Yeah, so for us, it's not too difficult. We have a nice report. We don't spend very much time on it. It's quite workable. Also, we're a small company and we're not trying to be an overachiever and do all the different things. But I must say, there are groups that are coming to offer us services and want large amounts of money, outside consultants, want to have it audited, want to have this stuff. And I'm overwhelmed with this stuff. And
I've heard that from, we just got back from a site visit with a multi-billion-dollar mining company. And they were saying that there are these groups out there that basically they try to make themselves the standard of whatever. And if you guys want a favorable report from us, well, you better give us 50 grand. And I'm sure you're getting those calls.
Yeah, and then you have to do it every year because it has to be updated and keep going. And then if you got a report of X, then next time you have to do X plus Y. And so it keeps ballooning on itself. And so maybe this article maybe had to do with that. But yeah, definitely I'm getting those type of requests. And we do it in-house. We do it. We always do everything. We've always done it, try to do things well. But I think you have to bring a good point that it could be overwhelming and it could be a money grab and it could be a certain looking good. And I think that it definitely for, you know, all the different checks and balances for just an exploration project could be a lot.
Okay, so let's talk Riverside. You guys recently announced the expansion of the Ariel Copper Project, 18 kilometers east of Grupo Mexico's La Caridad project.
Well said.
Which my understanding from my crack team of research is they do about 300 to 350,000 tons of copper mining a year.
Copper metal, yeah. Concentrate.
What can you tell us? What are you guys looking for here? Is this a copper porphyry you guys are going after here?
Exactly. So it's a giant copper mine that the La Caridad, Grupo Mexico, one of the giant copper mining companies of the planet, are mining. And there are two big mines in Mexico that are for copper, the Caridad and the Cananea. And these are giant cities and complexes. And we're adjacent to that, 18 kilometers to the east, looking for another satellite giant copper discovery. So we're looking for copper, we're looking for the porphyry, which is this intrusion-related copper, and we're looking for something that's got nice grade. The thing that you like about grade, high-grade copper is first, reactive rock. So the rocks are actually changing and we're into the right rock. And second is the right type of magma, the right type of volcano that's come into it. So we have both of those indicators at the Ariel Project. So our announcement was, thanks to all the challenges that have been going on in Mexico right now, we're lucky, we're sitting on cash. Riverside's got over 5 million cash. So we're able to clean up the problems for the neighboring property and acquire it and bring it in, pay out the back taxes, clean up the ownership, and actually consolidate it. So that makes the project now much bigger for Riverside as a large target.
Do you think you guys are going to drill it yourselves, or do you think you guys are, the first priority will be to find a partner? That
we already have lined up a couple of interesting partners to look at it, and they'd like to look at it. We could drill it. We've actually got the drill permits. Okay. I think we'd like to find a partner. We've found that still, if we can get a partner and a good deal, that's great for us. We like the chance the properties come back to us, the volatility in the market, so we like that. There's no problem with drilling, but if we can get a partner to drill it, that would be great. And it allows us to protect our capital and acquire more copper projects. We also have the Union Copper Project. We also have the Cuarentas. So we have a number of copper projects. So if someone's drilling on Ariel, that gives us the money for ourselves to drill on some of the others.
So you guys also announced that you've optioned out the Cecilia Project.
Yes.
Part of that agreement is that the company Riverside is going to provide exploration services for further development of the project. As an investor in the company, what's my upside here? Is it just that this is going to bring in some cash flow to keep the company running?
No, I think it's discovery. Okay, so basically the partner is with Fortuna Mining. Yeah. They've changed their name, Fortuna Mining. First off, they want to drill deep, grand slam, home run type of targets. Okay. They want to see if they can find the root zone, the feeder zone. The company Fresnillo operates a large mine, San Julian, where they got to the heart of it and it became a company maker type of project at Fresnillo. We have the same type of target at Cecilia. Okay. So Fortuna says, that's a cool target. We'd like to go for it. So that's exciting. It's a target that we're glad to have them fund. What's up for Riverside? First is discovery. Reservoir Minerals was like that. Reservoir Minerals was working with Phelps Dodge, and Phelps Dodge drilled and made a discovery. Reservoir Minerals then had a minority interest. Eventually we went from 40 cents to $16 and a takeout. And I think that's the upside.
So how much of the project of the economics will Riverside retain under the agreement?
So under the agreement, it's a two-stage. First 51 and then 80% goes to Fortuna. So Riverside would keep 49 and then we'd have only 20%. But by getting a free carry for the first $6 million invested into the property, allows for the property to be de-risked and to test these targets. Also, it's allowed us to consolidate additional land. We've now gotten access to double the land area that we had before. We've actually gotten the area to the south and to the west. And so we're really excited. These are areas that Riverside ourselves didn't want to make the commitment to the community or to the ranchers to have to go in. But we've done that with Fortuna, and now we're able to drill on much larger land.
Got it.
So they're carrying the risk.
Yeah, and it's one of those big problems in junior mining that we've talked about quite a bit, where these projects are incredibly expensive to drill out, and it's sort of more of a realistic mathematical exercise to say, let's go find somebody, have them spend the money and retain the economics, which I know a lot of investors sometimes have a hard time wrapping their heads around, but it's expensive to explore and drill out a property.
It is, and two things. Three things. One is the volatility in the market. So you can't really tell, but it's going to go up and down. And so when it goes down, generally, if the partner hasn't earned into it, they begin to tighten their belts and will return properties. And we found that a lot. I think the second thing is the volatility. This is in Mexico, is in the country. Riverside, if we can have partners spending in Mexico right now while we figure out what's going to happen with the new president, what's going to happen with the new policies, but we move the project ahead, that's great for shareholders. If we were actually taking that risk now and not knowing, and all of a sudden it goes bad or something, we would have used up our capital. Or the third is the exploration risk. It's a really good targets, but these are targets Riverside drilled in Ontario. We drilled and hit at 70 meters. We're now talking 10x deeper. We're going to go 10 times deeper. We're going to drill 700 meters in one hole to try to hit these big targets. That would be the equivalent of 10 intercepts of what Riverside did. So Riverside, we drilled shallow and hit. We knew we were into something, so that's good. We can continue to do that. But to step back and take these big shots right away, now some people say we shouldn't do that because you could kill the project. We're not interested in having the projects live forever. We want to make discovery as soon as possible. So if we kill this one, that's okay. We have other targets, we have other properties. That's the special thing about Riverside. Most juniors can't do that. They can't take that risk.
Okay, so you mentioned Mexico's new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, taking over from AMLA, who was not exactly Mr. Friendly towards mining. And right now it's believed that Sheinbaum is not going to be as friendly or possibly even worse.
I wouldn't say that's believed. Yeah, I think that we're in rhetoric, not in belief.
Okay.
I think that right now we're in this lame duck period and she is not president. I think she was supported by AMLO to become president. So I think she would be disrespectful and really shaking up if she did anything until she becomes president on October 1st. Yeah. So once she becomes president on October 1st, she can begin to have her voice. I think right now we're actually hearing the echo of the policies and politics, but not really necessarily what she's going to do. Yeah, so I would not jump to conclusions yet that that's going to be any. For Riverside, we have titled projects, permitted projects, and that's what Fortuna Silver, that's what other people like the Ariel Project. That's good. So currently, well, I won't say we're completely shielded, but we're protected from whatever policies in that we have titled projects. What
does that mean, title projects?
So we actually have the title. So you have the mineral, you have a title is that you have an agreement with the government. Okay. And the government, and you've signed a paper and you've paid your taxes. So you have the right to do certain things underneath that agreement. It's agreement, and that's the title. Now, when they go and say they're going to do this or that, that's all for new projects that have not. So like no open pits or no this or no that. That would be illegal for an existing title because the existing title gives you those rights. So it's for any new titles, any new agreements that you'd form with the government.
So
you'd be grandfathered in.
So from a legal context, would that mean that if you guys hit a big discovery on Cecilia or La Union or one of the other ones that you guys would be able to do open pit mining?
So if they formed a law that's in the agreements, there's no statement of what type of mining you can do. You have the right to mine. Okay. So you can do mining, and there's no comments about the mining methods. So there's no mining methods. There's no law either way. There's been nothing passed that says that. So you have the right to go forward and present and do things and do all the exploration. So when we get to the form of mining, you have to go through any environmental process. You permit and do the environmental process. So yes, we'd have the right to move ahead and do things, and we'd go through the process. And so we've been having to work with lawyers, had to work with lawyers to represent us because the government says, this is what the new policy is. And we say, yeah, but we're not part of the new policy. We're part of the existing policy.
Where's most of your excitement right now in Canada? I know you guys have your project in Ontario, which you're calling Blue Jay, a nice gold project, and then you guys are doing some rare earth stuff in BC. Where are you guys spending most of your time right now?
We're spending most of our time on the rare earth elements. I'm very excited about the Blue Jay. We don't need to spend too much time on it. It's ready to go. Blue Jay is looking great. So right now on Blue Jay, we're doing some exploration out there in the field. We're really, it's summertime, it's good. We just got back from the field. We really like it a lot. So we're most excited about Ontario. We're most excited about that work and the potential there. And the potential to actually spin it out or do a transaction is great. And the target at Pichette is very interesting. On the rare earth element side, we like the rare earth elements. It's early stage. So we're doing work there. We're out in the field. Most of our effort this summer is out there trying to give it a go. We're looking at different things, expanding. So we definitely see by December, we'll have more rare earth element.
So I got to ask you here, we're at a conference. You're at a lot of these. What do you hope to get out of these conferences when you come to a conference like the Rule Symposium?
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I think these interviews with you is fun, but particularly meeting shareholders. I just did a breakfast and we had 75 people there. Half of them are shareholders or 3/4, and that's great. Also having people online. There's over 1,000 people online. Being able to interact with shareholders or people that are potentially shareholders. So what I hope to get out of the conference is more share buying, more share ownership, and better understanding about what we're doing and appreciation. I feel we're really low valued, undervalued. I mean, we're sitting with 5 million cash and market cap at 10 million. So I recently been buying more shares. I've never sold a share in 17 years. And at this level, buying more and more shares of Riverside. And what I hope to get out of this conference is really letting other people see the value, and so they also will choose to increase their shareholding.
Well, John Mark, thanks very much for doing this. It's always a pleasure when we get to sit down and chat. I appreciate all the work you put in as a shareholder of Riverside. I think we've owned shares for nearly 3 years now.
That's great.
And I feel like it's inevitable that you're going to make that big discovery that's going to really make the stock pop. And hopefully you'll keep chatting with us when you make it big. And we're this little website, TheDeepDive.Ca.
No, it's great. Well, you're doing super. I really appreciate how you're growing and stuff. And we definitely appreciate the partnership. Thank you.